If you recognize a single wisdom sense that I'm saying here, or logic that I'm making here, you then get the picture of what I say, that what I have become. I'm a free person, peaceful in my heart. I may not necessarily reflect in rich or all those means, because that is what it was. Even the people that, let's say Christianity, the people they followed him, that man they followed, wasn't appearing rich. He wasn't appearing very rich, was he? No. There were obstacles, like the true religious people we have the same as we have today, who are even presenting him. He says that they will come and present me. He says they will present me, as I was saying earlier on, that I am the Christ, and they will deceive people. Now they are using the same leaders, similar leaders like what we have today, who are presenting him, are using him as being the Christ, all right, but just to deceive people. But the pride of men has never changed. People do not see things that way. They don't really respect the fact that logic is being said. They even feel insulted that that's the logic. They feel insulted by the logic. How can such a person have such a logic? Carpenter's side, a poor person, how can he have such a logic? If he's making logic, then what are we? He makes us look ridiculous. Except one or two. So the idea of what do you call it? Religion and the characters of religious leaders have really caused deep harm, and as I said, most horrific things and deadly and wicked decision making and all those things that come from people who have some convictions, cultural or religious background. And it's not very peaceful. It's a means that is being used to keep people quiet, or sober crowd, or sort of put fear into people and silence them. And they do it in the name of God. I am saying God is not like that. He didn't create things to destroy it. Whatever state we are, that's how he wants things to be. And the God that is being presented is what I'm talking about. The God that is being presented is made for us to believe as omnipotent, omniscient, great God, powerful God. He can do all the changes without a sweat in his palm or sweat in his face. He can do changes. He doesn't need to kill, destroy to do changes. He doesn't need to bring tsunami upon people to do changes. That is the God I believe. With such a power, he doesn't need to do all those things. I am saying from my own, from my understanding of the English words that has been used, or the words or the text that's presented, the definition of who he is. He doesn't need all that to make a point to you, or to sort of change you, or to make you whatever it is he wants to make you. If the world is so horrible, I don't think he can change it. He can change it. So if the leader or his fellow man has got the status of leadership, and he using the name of God and say that, I say that is a very silly and a serious lie, blunder. He had done it himself. Men take decisions, men decide, men rule, men feel that the idea of faith or believing in a God to come and intervene and do something is neither here nor there. People don't believe in that anymore, but in a shameful way cannot come out to say such a thing. So still they have to use the analyzing, but they have to analyze things in such a way that people to believe that God gave us the rule to do what we have to do. He has given the power to us. Because they can't just put those things outside. And when it happens, that you can't blame the man, because he's claiming that actions or the authority that he has is from a divine, unseen divine God. So if you have issue with the leader, you are having issue with God. You have to go and we can't find God anywhere to deal with God. So eventually you can't accuse that leader, and you can't put him to try and say that he made those decisions, or he will even have a book that he has first convinced you that this book is from God, and this is what the book is saying. So God said it is not me. God said that anybody who do something wrong, he has to be killed, or he has to be whipped, or he has to be, and he's using that to tell you. So you cannot, right now in other sense, in political sense, people also say that, okay, this is what the law, this is how the law works, this is how the law works, the law is there. It wasn't said by one person, it was said by everybody. I'm the leader, and if this is what you have done, the law says this is what we should do to you. And so we do it to you, and not because I did that. So a man has passed the law, by the law, through the law, and done what he has to done to you. And then he has put the blame somewhere that we can't even find who authority is. Nobody knows who God is or where God is. And he has done what he has done and got away with it. Not just him. Many people who go through the same process. This is designed by men, and that's how we rule or how we live our lives. Does that make it necessarily God doing that? I have put it out there. You want to discover God. I want to discover God. Is he really there? Did he really say these words? Did he really give those laws? But at least in the secular world, or in a normal world, or in the governmental world or political world, we can say that it was set. The law was set by men. Even though some have got religious and cultural influence from the same books, but the method was used there in the same way. But at least we can say that one, it was men who set it. We know people came together and set the law. So it was men said. That's not accusable. You can't point finger that we accept. It's acceptable that if a man has agreed, they are taking the decision and taking another life. Because in our own life, since God is not showing himself, we have to decide to find a way to rule our lives. That's what happened. But we make sure that it doesn't fall onto the wrong hands. If a wrong leader comes, a wrong leader who is a dictator, a destroyer, a murderer, he will sort of ruin the whole entire society. He will take people's life unnecessarily. And that also we have to find ways to break that, make that impossible, or sort of prevent such things from happening. So it depends on what men decide in the law. So that's not an issue. But the right issue of which we had to deal with, the religion and the culture, which points rules and laws from a divine God that we do not see. And because of that, even if people's life are being ruined and destroyed and harmfully, dealt with through these laws or these books, and nobody can know who to point fingers and they get away with this, that is what we have to deal with. People are doing evil things because they know through this channel you can get away with it. In the Islamic world, in the Christian world, in the Buddhist world, the same way. If somebody is strongly religious and he does it, the harmful, a deadly thing, or wicked thing, how are you going to accuse him? He will tell you that is where he got it from. And most of the time, they are untouchable, except that if the government go hold you, then they sort of say that no, we don't allow that anymore. You cannot use some sort of means of, and no, we'll stop you from that. Yeah. But generally, it happens. People are using religious and culture books and things that are directed to divine God without a single proof, without establishing the God himself there. And they do all sort of things. And that is the means that has brought so much lawlessness and all kinds of things. Because people can get away with it. The fact that you can get away with it, you use it. So many people are using that means in their own life. You kill somebody so wicked and terrible, and he claims he's a Christian. He's so wicked and terrible, and he's going by, because he's going by the test. He's a Muslim, and he's a wicked person. He's a Buddhist, and he's a wicked person, killing people, or mean. He becomes so mean and terrible. He doesn't give alms. He doesn't help anybody in life, and he claims all those religious groups. That is very humiliating. That person who doesn't make any claim, like me or any other, is better off than you. Because in my meanness, it is understandable that I'm mean because I don't have. I haven't got any means to give, and I'm not going to make wild claims of having the means to give you, or some God making claims about knowing a God who is divine and helpful, and that God provides for me, and yet I go out there and I'm lacking wisdom, I'm lacking, all the necessary resources that I might need to help myself or help others. Make all those things, and even in the West thing is not give you some rules and tell you that my God can grant you certain good things like this and that, and if you follow the rules and regulations, your life will be better and you have a good morals to live on. And if I don't, these are the rules, the punishment that will come upon you. All those strategies are being used. I don't put myself in that situation. In my situation, in the situation I'm presenting, it's more peaceful because I know what will happen to me, that I will be blamed, point finger, if I take such actions. But with the other sense, in the culture and the religious sense, you know in your head that you can get away with it because you will not be blamed. You can point it to the book that it is God who gave that ordained or decreed that. So they have to go and look for God and deal with the situation and use that as a means to. People used to use that. Now, as I said, it's not easy. But yes, these are the differences. And if we encourage the culture and the religion very much in our sense, we have ourselves to blame. You have yourself to blame. I have myself to blame. So I believe that you wouldn't go along that line. I hope you are with me side by side on this.